Let's face it, life isn't easy. If you're stuck in a bad relationship, betrayed or afraid of tomorrow, financially insecure, or desperate for a breakthrough, you've come to the right place. Dr. Carmen Harra is a renowned psychologist, intuitive, relationship expert, and best-selling author, and she's here to give you the miracle guidance you need. Her new call-in show, Miracle Guidance for Everyday Life, offers profound wisdom, practical advice, daily exercises, and empowering predictions, all for you. Dr. Harra's show aims to eliminate everyday problems, big and small, with topics like healing your relationships, reclaiming your power, achieving better health, dealing with loss, and so much more. Regain the joy, stability, and fulfillment you deserve to feel. Tune in to Miracle Guidance for Everyday Life with host Dr. Carmen Harra, live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and find the answers you've been looking for.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Miracle Guidance, the show that gives you the guidance that you need to transform your lives. I'm Dr. Carmen Harra. I'm live every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on OMTime Radio. And tonight I have the most amazing guest, Susan Miller. I think Susan is quite the best astrologer ever. I remember Susan many years ago. I think I was with her on a show, I hope I remember correctly, somewhere in 1994. Susan Miller is an author. She wrote 12 books. She's a publisher. She's a pioneer in the field of astrology. And I remember she founded astrologyzone.com. And I think this debuted somewhere in December 95. And she's considered to be an authority in the field of Western astrology. And people are reading everything she's doing. People are so interested in her work. 11 million people watch her every year. She's publishing, and I think she even has a TV show. And she has an app that is called Daily Horoscope Astrology Zone and more by Susan Miller. So I don't think I have enough words to tell you how excited I am to have Susan with me tonight. And I love you, Susan. So welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
I'm excited to be on your show.
You are such an amazing lady. You've accomplished so much, and people love you. People all over the globe, people from, the Northern Hemisphere, people from Japan, people from Sweden, from Paris, from everywhere are calling Susan Miller, and people from the Wall Street, celebrities, everybody wants to know, what to do with their lives. So it's such a treat, it's such an honor for everybody. We have a lot of listeners on this show, so they are so excited. I was just talking to my producer. She said that we don't even have one spot for anyone no more, because everybody is been calling half an hour before just to have a chance to talk to Susan.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm thrilled to hear that.
Yeah, so we're going to take some calls, but
Sure.
I have some questions. People love astrology, but give us your take of astrology, because I want to ask, in which way you think that astrology influences us? How can you define it? Which is your take on it?
Well, I feel astrology is the mathematical study of the movement of the planets, and when they are within an 8 to 10. Well, it depends on the particular aspect, but say 8 to 10 degrees of a certain angle, geometric angle, they begin communicating with each other. But you study astrology to know what that means. You decipher the meaning by the planet and by the sign that they're in. And some of the aspects that we experience in life will never happen again, and others will, but they'll be in different signs. So there really are great opportunities that you may not be aware of because you're thinking about something else. And it's my job to show you what's going on and what you can take advantage of.
Yes. So let's say people want to use astrology on their daily basis, on their everyday life. what should they actually do? Go to your site, or how do you advise people?
My editors, and I write for Vogue Japan, W Korea, Tempo in Turkey, Claudia Brazil, Amica Italy, Simona Spain, Vogue
all over the globe,
China. And that's why 52% of my audience is outside the U.S. But you look at those new moons and full moons. That is so important. You start and you initiate right after a new moon. You get closure and information at the full moon. Then you might say, well, what happens after the full moon? Then you're in a planning stage. After 4 or 5 days have passed after the full moon, it's now waning, going darker, darker. Then you're in a planning stage, and then you initiate on the new moon again. But each new moon has a different flavor, and I tell you where it's falling. But the very best thing everyone could do is first get your chart done. Find out what you have rising, what your ascendant is. That means what was coming up over the eastern horizon as you were being born. Once you know that, then you read for that sign and your sun sign. But if you're born at dawn, you're going to have the same rising sign. You'll be a so-called double Pisces, double Virgo, whatever. If you're born, but the sun comes up at different times during the year. Right now, it's taking forever to come up. It's dark all the time. But in the summer, it comes up pretty early, around 5 a.m. So, but you will find out what you have rising, and the computers figure it out for you. No math for you. You can go to astro.com and find out right away.
That's what I love about you, Susan. You make it so easy for people to comprehend. So you take this enormous science, and you apply it, to people to understand what they should do, when they should do it. You make it accessible to people. For instance,
That's my mission.
That's a big mission. And you do the best job. So, for instance, my ascendant, I'm an Aries. My ascendant is in Taurus. And I have my moon in Pisces. So,
Oh, you have a nice chart because you have all the pioneering and courage of Aries, but all the practical sense of Taurus. Aries starts businesses, but then the business starts growing so crazy big, like Jack and the Beanstalk with those beans. They don't know what to do, so they have to bring in a Taurus. But you have that other financial side saying, okay, we need payroll, we need insurance, we need this and this because it's a real company now, and we have to give it the 4 legs of a table to solidify it and make it so it doesn't rock, And then the Pisces has the heart for people. The moon, if people keep asking me this, you don't read for your moon sign because it tells you your emotional state. Mm-hmm. And if I'm reading a chart, I can see how you viewed your mother. Your mother was a very sympathetic person and very giving to other people. I mean, if you have the moon in Pisces, that's clear. But anyway, you don't read for that. You only read for your rising sign and your birthday sign, your sun sign. You say, well, why should I read for my sun sign? Well, the sun is in the middle of our solar system, and all the little planets march around the sun. Nobody marches around Venus, Mars, or Mercury.
Exactly.
So it has a special role in life as being at the heart of our solar system. So it is important. And as I studied astrology, when I began writing, that's when I began to see how much juice I could get out of the orange. Whoa, so much information, because I was looking so closely, at everything. Well, when you're writing, you better, because you get letters if you get something wrong. It's a good discipline in life.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. No, I use astrology all the time, and I try. I don't sign contracts if I can help it. Now, let's say you've been out of work for 8 months in this terrible economy, and your employer wants you to sign. You have to sign. I mean, you'll lose the job if you don't. But you say to yourself, the nature of the job will change, and I will be flexible when it does. and then once you have a job, it's easier to get another job, so sometimes we do things that are not the perfect time because life is a messy, sweaty process, and sometimes we can't have everything perfect, so.
That's true. But anyhow, astrology, to what I understand from you, helps somebody with their evolution, with their personal growth, and helps them identify who they are. Like you're defining me by simply telling you these are the elements I was born with, and immediately you tap into the significance of my mother, the level of empathy, you know what I mean?
Yes.
The power of building a business, the need of practicality that comes from the Taurus and so on. So it's like really, really powerful of defining somebody in 3 minutes the moment you know something astrologically about the person. So I know that you did so much work because you connect the dots. You can put things together and make it magic for people. Like you wake up people into who they are, where they need to be, and what they need to accomplish. Is finding themselves through you.
Well, I was very interested when you look at the sun, the round circle with the dot in the middle in a chart. The sun is right there.
Right.
And so what's about that dot in the middle? Why did they put the dot in the middle? So I started doing research. The dot in the middle, the ancients put there because it is the divine spark within. We're each given a piece of God.
This is beautiful.
Well, once you realize you have a piece of God in you, you have a big responsibility to use it. And to use it in an honest, ethical way to the best you can. And, God gave you different talents. I find with millennials, they're having a very hard time because some of them came out of college in 2008, 2009, and they had a big crisis financial. And then 11 years later, we got another one. So they see the world as a dangerous place. It's not as dangerous as they think it is, but for them, it's been very unpredictable. If you're looking for the perfect job, usually it comes from the ascendant, what you have rising. So before you go over to astro.com, I tell your listeners you have to find out the exact time of birth, and you have to know where the hospital was. Not where you live, but where the hospital was where you were born. And then we can do a chart. And
but
then
some people don't know that. What happens if people don't really
Well,
remember?
if you don't, you use sunrise.
Okay.
We default to sunrise, but you'll still know where the 8 planets were and the sun and moon, which is very helpful. And you know what? And then I asked them, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a florist. Well, that's Venus. So maybe they have Taurus or Libra rising. Oh, I'm a lawyer. Maybe they have Libra rising. So sometimes I work backwards, and I also ask about their family life when they were little, and you can adjust a chart by the answers you get from people.
Oh, amazing!
But most people, if they're born in the U.S., they did put the time because they didn't want to mix up the babies. That mother had that baby in that room with that doctor at that time. They wanted to keep the baby straight. Where were you born, Dr. Carmen?
I was born in Romania, actually. I was born in a town, in the northern part. If you heard of Transylvania, because everybody heard of Transylvania.
Yes,
everybody heard about Dracula, but anyhow,
Yeah, but I also know Romanian girls have the most beautiful skin. Oh, they're taught from babyhood to take such good care of their skin.
Right.
And you have some of the best estheticians coming from there.
Very true.
Yeah.
A lot of beautiful ladies from that part of the world, no doubt about it. And very good people, hardworking people.
Yeah.
So I was born near, I know that you can find it on a chart and a place that is called Cluj, C-L-U-G. And it's a town called, it's a small town. I was born in a very small town. So
how amazing is that? And you came all the way to America.
All the way down to America, and I wrote books in English in a language I had no idea, and it's interesting how life takes you where you're meant to be.
Yes, and that's what makes America so rich, all the different contributions from everyone.
Yes.
My family is from, my father's side is from Sicily, and my mother's side is from Germany.
You Italian. You speak Italian?
No, because my father said that Sicilian is not a good Italian, and I am not going to teach you that it is slang, it is bad Italian. So then he didn't teach me. And my mother said, I cannot teach you German. I can read it, but I can't speak
it.
So I never learned. So I took French in school, and my sister took Spanish, so nobody could talk to each other.
Oh, okay. That sounds...
It's so funny, right?
Yeah, very funny. I speak French, by the way. It's a very...
French is so beautiful. I love French. It's a beautiful
language, yeah. So, comme vous voulez, on peut parler en français. One day in the future, not on the show. But I love you so much, Susan. You are just such an amazing woman.
Now, are you in Washington, D.C.? Is that
No, I am in Florida. I have a place in New York and one in Florida, so I'm back and forth. But during this time with the pandemic, I'm more in my Florida house. I invite you here. And I want to do a live on Facebook with you. I would love that. Yeah,
I would love that.
Love that.
Here we all are, and we're experiencing the most important thing we've ever gone through in life, and it links us to everyone on Earth. Mm-hmm. I talk to my editors in Brazil or in Milano or in Beijing, and everybody has lockdown. Everybody is worried about the variants and the new mutations, and so it's hard.
So because you're speaking about this, can I ask you, what is your take on this situation with us? When do you think, if you look astrologically at the situation, when do you think this is going to come to an end, to a moment? Yeah.
Last year, Jupiter met with Pluto. And they hadn't seen each other in 13 years. They were really happy to have dinner. Oh, my gosh, I haven't seen you in 13 years. So they met in April 4th, then June 30th, and then November 12th. The thing is, everyone expected great prosperity because they're both tied to financial things. But Jupiter also, everything it touches, it expands, gets bigger. So Jupiter, the first night he met Pluto, he said, I'm so happy to see you. What could I do? What could we do together? And he must have been drinking too much wine because Pluto said, well, the universe gave me this virus. Would you help spread it for me? And Jupiter said, oh, sure, I'll help you. Oh, Jupiter, what were you thinking? And the big prosperity that I had seen in the chart was the $1 trillion stimulus packages, bigger than anything we ever had. But I didn't expect it. And I didn't know that viruses are ruled by Pluto. I never looked it up. If you don't look, you don't find in astrology. So they were busy spreading. And if you remember, April was terrible in New York and in Italy. And then June came. They were both retrograde by then. And I thought, it'll be a little softer. No, the whole Sun Belt from Florida through Arizona, Texas, all the way up to California got hit. Yeah. And then came November 12th, where everybody went home for Thanksgiving, and everything was spiking. And my own daughter did not come home. She lives in Los Angeles. Now, we follow what Dr. Fauci says, but India, Brazil, Russia, Turkey, everybody was having trouble. Now, see, the thing is, last year was very unusual in that Jupiter and Pluto were stuck together like Siamese twins the whole year, and so was little Saturn. Saturn said, I want to come, I want to be with you. And Jupiter and Pluto are saying, kids, you stay home. It's like having your little brother with you. Stay home, Saturn. Mommy said I could be with you. Okay. Go get your coat. And so now Saturn. So I've never seen 3 planets orbiting a whole year stuck together with crazy glue. They were just stuck. Now, Jupiter and Pluto separated, and they won't be back again for 13 years. And I looked back on the Spanish flu, and they were together then, too. Who knew this? Oh, my gosh. I almost fell off the couch. And when we had yellow fever in New York, they were together. So I was looking at past, epidemics in New York.
Right.
I mean, you can look in your city, too. Google has everything.
Right.
So anyway, now Saturn and Jupiter are still together. Little Saturn doesn't want to go home and play with his blocks. He's sitting there with Jupiter. But after After March 15th, they are pretty far apart, 10 degrees.
Right.
So I think by the second half of March, we have a better handle on it. Doesn't mean we flick on the switch and it's all gone. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people are just hoping, turn on the light,
of course, Of course.
But I think we may have a booster. They're working on it. I think we're going to wear a mask all year because until everybody gets inoculated, some people are scared they should not be. I've already had both because I have ulcers, which is considered autoimmune. So I was cleared for both vaccines. So I got both of them already. Okay. And my friends who were scared say, "You didn't die." I said, "No." No, as a matter of fact, it keeps you from dying. It's a good thing, you know. So my housekeeper particularly was a little scared, but she said, "Now I'm going to get it. I see it's okay." And I got the Moderna one. But it was funny on Twitter. Somebody said, "Susan Miller should get it. She's an essential worker." Usually they're mean to me on Twitter, but that day they were nice, you know. I was like, "Oh, kisses to you." But even when you get the vaccine, you can't take off your mask and then just do whatever you want to until the poor countries are vaccinated because they travel and well, I've heard that we are trying to help them and that Pfizer is selling. Well, you know, I talked to my editors in Milan and they said only 3% of the population has been inoculated. All of Europe is having trouble getting the medicine.
That's true. Right.
So, and Biden says, "Okay, America, we got to take care of you first." And we're hoping by July everybody gets it. But then we have to start helping our friends and even people who are not our friends. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Anybody. Yeah. And this is a big deal. And so we are careful, but I think a grandparent can see a grandchild. You know what I mean? You can take baby steps. You know, and I don't see many people. My secretary is afraid of the subway. And I would never force her to do anything she did not want to do. I love her. So she works out of her house, I work out of mine, and she talks to me every day at 5 o'clock. And I made sure she had the printer, the inks, whatever she needs, you know. And then sometimes I bring her in by taxi, but it's $50 each way, so it's $100. So she lives in Brooklyn, and I'm in Manhattan. So it's okay, but I've always had my team work out of their house, so it's not that different for me. But people in restaurants, I would say to people, if you're out of work, this could take time. And I think this country is going to go through something. And Saturn will be in the House of Finance of the United States. Well, it already was, but it's still we're gonna feel it because there's so many empty stores. And I think anybody who can get into a digital area, because that's where it's all going. You know, the Christmas star, should we talk about that? Because that is part of this. Do you remember on December 21st, Jupiter met with Saturn to have all these monumental meetings? And some people could actually see the rings from Earth. Right. People were sending me pictures. You know, New York was a cloud cover, but L.A. was really clear. So anyway, some people called it the Christmas star that the wise men followed. That's not really true. It was Jupiter-Saturn, but Mars was part of it. But this year, Mars was busy in Capricorn. He didn't have time to come. He was sorry. But still, Jupiter-Saturn is huge. They only meet once every 20 years. That's huge.
Right.
So when they meet, it depends on what sign they meet. It colors politics, fashion, food, music, entertainment, art, literature, everything in culture. Everything. Okay, so every year before this year, for 200 years, they always met in an earth sign. First Taurus, then Virgo, then Capricorn, every 20 years apart. They never missed that order. They didn't step on each other's toes, okay? So what did we accomplish in the past 200 years? Well, we built cathedrals and skyscrapers and roads, bridges, tunnels. I tried to imagine America before 200 years, and we were on horseback, and it was like forest.
Yes.
We take things for granted, but and we also started the assembly line and the Industrial Revolution, and that changed everything. Because in the old days, if you wanted oatmeal, you went to the general store and they had them in big barrels, and they would take a scooper and put it in a paper bag for you.
Right.
You know, we begin to think life was always this way, but what we're experiencing in the since we were born was established 200 years ago. And so that's crazy, right? And I'm watching
it is. I'm like listening. I'm like you're blowing my mind away. I mean, just I couldn't put this two and two together. Now I'm listening to you, and you're so right about everything.
So now, and I'm watching a show on the there's a series on the Smithsonian Network, and they also have a podcast, How Food Built America. And they tell you how Coca-Cola got started, how the cereal got started, how Pizza Hut and Domino got started. Oh, and now they're doing McDonald's. It's so interesting. And in each case, it was so hard to get started that it almost failed. It was such an interesting story. But anyway, this time when they met in Aquarius. That's not an earth sign. And Jupiter and Saturn will never again meet in an earth sign in our lifetime, because each element gets 200 years.
Wow.
The last time they met in Aquarius, it was 1604.
Wow.
And, you know, Columbus discovered America 1692 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or was it? So this is a pioneering sign. We're going to discover space. And that's
what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing right now as you speak.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're doing.
They said that
incredible.
The truck that they put on Mars, 13 million miles away, weighs a ton, literally a ton. And they had those 7 minutes of terror to get it in a place that wasn't too rocky, and they got it. But from now on, you're going to see exploration, but not only in space. It will be of the oceans and also within your body. They will find ways to take out of genes, you know, the things we inherit that sometimes hurt us, like sickle cell anemia or macular degeneration or whatever it is. People will not have to suffer. And we have CRISPR, that big machine in Switzerland that we can use, but we're still learning how to use it. And Aquarius likes to work in groups. And Aquarius is very mathematical, by the way. Aquarius is air, and it directs its energy to math and science. Libra directs it to debate, which is why it's in law and the courtroom. They love law. They either become lawyers or marry lawyers, like my sister did, or they love to watch court cases, you know, like movies that are all about court cases. And then Gemini likes to just spread news, likes to be the journalist, likes to write, is the scribe. So they all direct their energy slightly differently. But Aquarius is what we're feeling so strong. And the pandemic didn't create the trend, it's accelerating it. Suddenly, we're home, we're at the computer, we're wearing different clothes, we're not dressing up as much. Although if we go on a Zoom conference, I always dress up and I have my hair blown out and I have roses on the desk. But and we're eating better because we're home and we're not ordering up. So we're not eating so many French fries. We're eating soup or good things for us, and and they like to work in groups. So here we had the need to create a vaccine quickly. Well, we have the Watson computer that would say, "Oh, this scientist just published a paper in Denmark." And somebody in New York may say, "Oh, I was just going to work on that. Now I don't have to work on that. I'm going to call that doctor up and we go to the next level." And so time is compressed, no duplication of effort, and everybody working together. And the CEO of Pfizer said something so Aquarian. He said, "Look what can be accomplished when nobody cares who gets the credit. Let's just get it done."
Oh my God, this is incredible.
It gives you goose pimples.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I think there's not going to be any money from the government, no more stimulus checks after this last one that President Biden's trying to get us, because we're doing deficit spending. And the head of the Federal Reserve Bank said, "We have to pay all this back, and it will probably take 12 years. I don't think it's going to come from there. I think it's going to come from people helping people, like you just saw in Texas, where those people, they had no food, they had no water, so people were coming in from other states. And and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez raised $5 million just yesterday, and she's bringing help to Texas. And you're going to see people helping people. I have found in my life that there are people who are maybe a very close friend or a relative, somebody right in your family, who is suffering and they will not tell you. They won't tell you. They feel shy. And I have my next door neighbor, and I said, "Oh, he was locking his door. I was coming back. I live in a high rise." I said, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" And he used to work on Wall Street. He said, "Okay, my girlfriend had her operation," and we're talking, and he said, "I'm really glad that the city's giving out free lunches, or I would be hungry." I was in shock, but I didn't show it. I said, "Oh, that's really nice. That's good to know." So now when I make a big pot of beautiful vegetable soup or chicken soup, of course I'm going to make extra and freeze it and say, "Hey, would you like this? I made too much soup for me." You know what I mean? I'm always doing that. Or, "Oh, I bought a beautiful pecan pie, but if I keep it here, I'll keep eating. Could you help me eat it?" I did that last week, and he loved it.
So in other words, you're saying that this is creating oneness, holiness, togetherness, bringing, awakening empathy in people, making people understand we are in this together, and all we can do is to realize the magnitude of this and to run to the rescue, And it's an awakening. It really is an awakening.
It's a big awakening.
It makes us see life with different eyes. I would love to take some calls, Susan, with your permission. Is that okay with you?
Oh, sure. You can take parts of what I wrote sure.
Some of the people. I have a lot of people online who would love to say hello.
Oh, yeah. Let's take callers. Wonderful.
So many callers. I'm just looking. Oh my God, what are we gonna do here? Because there's so many callers. I don't even know where to start. But
they should give me their first name. Just say I am. Jane, and I'm born November 12th. That makes me a Scorpio, and I know I have Taurus rising. Here is my clear question, but ask a question in a way that many people might be interested in the same question.
Okay. I'm gonna go. To. We're gonna take a short break, everybody, and then we go to Pamela, to Teresa from Chicago, then Rosemary from Ontario, Hakeem from Florida. Helen from New York, Pamela from New York. So all of you guys, hold on the line. You'll be with Susan in a minute.
Oh, wow.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Coping-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
If you're feeling increasingly lonely right now, you're not alone. It's totally normal. Even though we may not be able to get together in person, connecting virtually with friends and family still gives you a chance to interact with people and may help raise your spirits. Join a virtual book club, set up group text chats, or online video coffee breaks with coworkers.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
And I'm back with the amazing Susan Miller, and what a chance you guys have to talk to the best astrologer on planet Earth. And Susan, I don't know if you remember, but I met you many years ago. I think it was Fox Television, something like that, going back to 1994.
Wow.
And I think we were on the same show at some point with Lynn White, was the main anchor.
Lynn White. I used to be on that show a lot when Lynn was there.
And I was on that show too, and that's when I remember you for the first time. It was 93, 94, so we go in 27, 28 years ago. So
we have to meet again and have a celebration.
Absolutely. And I think I will never be able to thank you enough for doing this for my audience. And I'm going to go and take Rosemary. And Rosemary is from Canada. Hi, my lovely Rosemary from Ontario. You have an amazing chance to talk to Susan Miller. And just give her your birthday and your question.
Yes, hello, Susan and Carmen.
Hi.
It's Rosemary. And I am born October 4th, 1966. So I'm a Libra.
Yeah, a little Libra. Do you know that according to United States Census, more babies are born between the 1st and the 5th than any other week in the year? Then this is not astrology. This is United States Census figures. But if you count backwards, it's New Year's Eve. So you were a very wanted, loved baby. What is your question?
Wonderful. I actually didn't really have one prepared because I thought you might be able to just tell me what's in store for me this next year ahead. Or even
this year
to retire. Yeah.
This year is all about love, fun, and joy, pure joy. The Libras have really won the jackpot because Jupiter, the giver of gifts and luck, is in your house of true love. Are you married? Are you single?
Yes, I am married. Happily
Perfect.
married.
Do you have children?
I do. I have 2 sons and 2 stepsons, yeah. And
well, one of them may be having a baby, which draws the whole family together, or you hear good news about a child that, that they already have. But it's really, last year, 2020, you really worked on your apartment or house. You found all the things you wanted to change, and you did it. And now you can relax and have the family over. And, my daughter had a baby, and I began to see from a different perspective, the first child in the family, how everybody comes together with this little tiny new life and how exciting it is. So is your son's married? Do they have children? What's the story?
So my 2 sons are both they're both in relationships. Yes, one has a girlfriend of 6 years, and the other one just got into the relationship a month ago.
Well, you have to talk to the one who's in the relationship 6 years and say, Oprah says you really should make a decision. Oprah had a whole show on that. But it's hard to get married during a pandemic. I know. Most people want to wait. So, but that's wonderful news, and that they're going out. Many people can't find someone, although they had some dating experts on television who said that their websites are booming. That up 27%. And I believe it's going to be better because people will have to meet the old-fashioned way through Zoom. No physical, all getting to know each other the quiet way, which I think is much more solid and gives possibilities for long term. But you have just a glorious output. Anyone listening who's a Libra should be just throwing confetti at this point, because you've been through a lot, but this is a year to sit back and finally have fun and just feel the warmth around you. And if you're creative, do you do something creative? Do you paint? Do you write? Do you take photographs? You may develop a talent that you didn't know you had this year, and it will carry you forward for at least a decade or more. So think about something you might like to do creatively.
I was thinking writing.
Excuse me?
I feel writing maybe for me.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. This is your time. It's the age of Aquarius, and you're an air sign. This is your time.
Wow.
You know what? You're retired, and now it's your time. And
I still have a few years to go. A few years to work.
Okay.
But I don't know if I'll reinvent myself before I retire or just.
Well, I think you should do it gradually. Yeah. I think people who just stop working, it's too much of a shock.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
The social
sort of
is a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, Rosemary, thank you so much for calling us. I am so grateful for your call. I'm going to go to Pamela in New York. Hi, Pam. How are you?
Hey, Carmen.
Hi.
Susan Miller. I met you and your mother. You get this honestly years ago through Carla Zizo.
Where did we meet?
In New York.
At the Barnes & Noble appearance? I brought her to the Barnes & Noble appearance.
I came to your house.
Wow.
Yes, it was a long time ago.
Oh, well, I loved you then, so I still do. What's your birthday?
Oh, I'm Aquarius with a Cancer rising, born in Manhattan, New York, in Mount Sinai Hospital.
Wow, a real New Yorker. What day, Aquarius?
February 3rd.
So you're right in the middle. So what could possibly be your question?
My question is, am I going to get a new job and move away from New York?
And where do you want to move, do you think?
D.C.
Oh, not far. Still on the East Coast.
Well, eventually I want to move to Florida, but I think I have some help for the government I want to do.
Mm-hmm. They need all the help they can get. This is great. Look, the best time for Cancer to be hearing about real big news is April 11th, that new moon. But for the Aquarians, it's in May. Now that's a full moon in May. Now I don't have my. Do you have my calendar? I print a calendar where I write every word, and I even talk about the new moons and full moons and what's up with them, if they're good ones or if they're a little. Like last October, we had a terrible full moon on Halloween, and it affected your career. That was a very stressful time, the end of October. And I wrote about it. It was a little witch of a full moon, and it was difficult. But this year, it's just the opposite. I think the universe is feeling a little guilty of what they did to the Aquarians. But April and May are huge months for your career. And you'll already start feeling it in March. You'll start to get little clues. And, so if you want to make a switch, I would start immediately, and Mercury's not retrograde anymore. So you have no blocks, But everybody listening should get my calendar. I print it for myself, but then I realize other people would like it. I hire the best artist, archival paper, rich inks, and it's right on the front page of my website. Easier to see if you go on a computer, just to astrologyzone.com. But it's a labor of love. It takes me 5 months to write, and then I have another astrologer check my math, and then I have 4 editors look at my grammar to make sure it's perfect. So it's I have the moon in Virgo, so but I think you're going to get a really nice job this year. You had a lot of competitors last year, and people who were not exactly playing correctly by ethical standards. You're not going to have that this year, so it's a different ball game. So I want you to forget the past, take it off like an old winter coat, and drop it to the floor. You've got a whole new life coming, and it's a better one.
Well,
I think it's exciting where you're going. Wow. You have to tell Carmen, and so I could find out what happens to you. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so thankful to Carmen for having you on. It's very nice.
Oh my God, I am grateful to Susan that she did this for me, and I want to invite her whenever she has time. I know how busy she is, but
we're going to do a lot of these because I like your readers.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you, Pamela. I love you, my dear, and we'll let you know. So thank you for calling. Okay, my love. I'm going to go to Florida to Hakeem. Hi, my dear Hakeem. What's your question to Susan?
Oh, hello, Susan.
Hi.
Hello, Carmen. How are you?
I'm
when
so glad that...
When is your birthday, Akeem?
Okay.
All right. Good name. I was born June 11th, 1978.
Okay. And do you know what you have rising?
No. See, this is the thing. This is all Greek to me. So I full disclosure.
Oh, it's okay.
I just recently had my natal chart done last week, so I'm like, is this serendipitous? No, I got to find out what's going on.
Then you have to call your astrologer, and she should write down where each planet is, or he, and where do you live?
I'm in Florida. I was born in Canada.
Oh, that's so nice.
Toronto General.
Oh, I've been to Toronto. Gorgeous city. Gorgeous. Lovely people. So what is your question, Gemini? You're going into the biggest career year of your life next year. You know that, right? You're getting ready.
I can feel that. Yep.
Do you write for a living or do any kind of writing, publicity, any of that stuff?
That is so amazing that you brought that up. I just had that discussion with the astrologer, and we recircled back to my love of writing, and so it's amazing that you mentioned that. Yeah,
Gemini has an extraordinary ability. Some people come to me and say, I want to be an editor, I want to be a writer, I want to write books or screenplays. If they don't have some Gemini or Virgo, they really have to think about something else. You know what I mean? You need that. But you have your sun in Gemini. You're born close to the longest day of the year when the sun is shining for the longest hours. And in astrology, sun is brilliance of the mind. And this is why Gemini's so curious. They're always asking questions. They can find interesting things out of the smallest assignment. They'll find something interesting. They also look younger than their years. So when you're, like in your 50s or 60s, people are going to think you're in your early 40s because
I get that now. Yep.
Yeah, because you're so eager and so curious. My mom was born June 15th, and she had the most charming way because she was always curious, and I love that about Gemini. So, did you have a different question?
No, that was basically, it was more
that was good.
But you're basically confirmation, the stamp on basically why I was calling. So I want to
try to do writing, and you know what? You get better as you keep doing it. Akeem, I will confess, I have Gemini rising. I feel I'm a better writer now than I was 10 years ago. And, you know, I keep the TV on when I write, and I think I'm not listening to it. But then I hear a word like Dr. Fauci used the word deleterious, which means could be harmful. And I thought, you know, I haven't used that word in a very long time. I'm going to write that down. You know, and I keep stretching to try to use new words or say it in a new way.
Right.
You know, and if you keep stretching, you're going to it'll just happen. And you know what else? Read good work. Read the Washington Post. Read the New York Times.
Sure?
Read, you know, and read whatever is well written. You know, read
That's
good
such
books.
a great advice. That's such a great advice.
Because somehow it goes like osmosis into your brain, and you find your work is better, and you don't know why. It's all subliminal. It's like magic. So definitely do it, and you'll enjoy it. Because, you know, Gemini's a little sponge, you know.
Absolutely it is.
Thank you, Hakeem. Thank you so much for calling. I have so many people online. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I know Teresa. I know Helena. I know all of you. Nancy. I'm going to go to Nancy in California. Hi, Nancy. You're here with
Carmen. How are you?
Beautiful Susan.
Hi, Nancy. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good. When's your birthday?
My birthday is 12/22/1957. I'm a double Capricorn with my moon in Cancer.
Oh, so you're great with business, and the home and family is like your tender spot, you know. And you were born very close to that Christmas star. It was the day after, you know, this year. I mean, your solar return, your birthday is what I'm trying to say, fell very close to the meeting of Jupiter and Saturn. So this is a very good financial year for you. Have you seen that yet?
Yes, I have.
You know, it was funny. I have to tell you this. I had to tell my readers who were Capricorns that this was going to be a good year for money. But that's such a boring sentence. Oh, it's a good year for money. So I started to do a little research about Saturn and Jupiter. And lo and behold, I go to the BBC website, and they said, scientists now know that it is raining diamonds on Jupiter and Saturn. And they used to think that it had the wrong atmosphere and that carbon could not be created, and you need carbon to make this. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I have to tell them. It's raining diamonds in their house of earned income. And I said, all right, it's true that they're not cut yet by Tiffany's or Cartier. As far as I know, there are no shops set up in Jupiter and Saturn yet by these jewelers. But keep the image in your head of these beautiful diamonds. They're yours. This is your year for reward. You waited 12 years for this year, and I want you to scoop up all that is there for you. The plum is on the tree. There are many plums on the tree. You just have to reach up and get them. So, did you have another question about? I just had to tell you this. I was so excited.
No, ma'am. You have given me perfect information.
This is beautiful. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you so much. Susan, I have to ask you, before we go to the end of the show, I have to ask you for my daughter, because she's going to kill me if I don't ask you. So November 9, 86.
Well, little Scorpio.
Right.
And what is the question? This person, does she have a name? Or
Alexandra is my daughter.
Oh, I love that name. Alexandra needs to either find an apartment or buy a house or fix up
she has
the
the most amazing apartment. She has the most amazing apartment.
Well,
running view of the ocean.
She may get a vacation house or make some investment in real estate.
Or another home. Yeah, that's possible.
This is the best year in over a decade for Scorpio to invest in real estate, and it will appreciate. And some people say, but I like my house. I don't want to move. You don't have to. You can fix it up and make it more valuable. And it's a lovely thing. She's going to be happy. She's never going to want to leave the house.
What about having a baby?
That's next year. because when it leaves the house of home, the way astrology works is you feather the nest, and then Jupiter moves into the house of baby next, and that's 2022.
22. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
Yeah. That's great.
That's the best news.
Yes. You know, women are waiting too long to have children, and my number one question is, can I have a baby? And they're all into IVF by the time they're 37. And IVF is $25,000 each time, at least here in New York. I don't know elsewhere. I want girls to know that you got to start early, not wait so long, because childbearing is for young people. Yeah, but if you're older, I can help with the timing.
I think she's only 34. I hope she can have it without.
Oh yeah, she's young. Yeah. It's okay.
I still hope, because she wants it so much to happen. Yeah.
Oh sure.
Oh my God. We're going at the end of the show, so I don't know. I'm going because I have so many people online. I'm sorry, Teresa.
I will come back next month if you want, and we do a whole hour of just questions.
Please. Yes, please.
Okay,
and
we work it out.
Promise me that you're going to be with me on Facebook Live, because we have so many people on Facebook.
You set that up with
100-something-thousand. Yeah, I'll talk to your PR and if she gives me a time.
She will fix it all up. And we'll cover many, many questions, and you'll be the moderator.
Fabulous.